Well, hello there again. This is WWE Colts Fan here with another DVD and Blu-ray update, where I show all the DVDs and Blu-rays I have gotten. Now, it's been a while since I've done a video. I think the last video was in September. Yeah, so I got a lot of catching up to do. Got a couple horror films in here, Christmas movies and TV shows. Pretty much everything. So, of course, I start with the DVDs. First off, from Eagle Records, or Eagle Rock, whatever you want to call it. Well, anyway, it's a division of Universal Music Group. We have Alabama and Friends at the Ryman. Yeah, this is a concert DVD with Alabama. I know you probably can't read it really well, but anyway, has Jason Aldean, Trisha Yearwood, Luke Bryan, the Eli Young Band, Florida Georgia Line, and Jamie Johnson. This was originally produced for GAC, Great American Country, and this is the full concert, not the broken down special that GAC did play. So, yep, Alabama. Well, continuing on with the music DVDs, we have the re-release, the 25th anniversary edition of Garth Brooks' Double Live, which featured new songs as well as the original disc content, and it came with a DVD with the video performances of the songs featured on the set. And of course his new album, free plug here, Man Against the Machine, comes out Tuesday. I forget what day it is, but yet anyway, it comes out this Tuesday. Our last DVD is a show that usually gets released on Blu-ray, but since CBS moved it to Fridays, they don't put it on Blu-ray anymore. But oh well. It's the 4th season of Hawaii Five-0. This season they add Chia McBride, and also a few guest stars like I think Tom Berenger. I'm trying to think who else here. Oh, I think one of the Jonas Brothers plays a villain. Yeah, one of the Jonas Brothers. Yeah, Hawaii Five-0. Okay, now onto the Blu-rays. We have from Marvel the complete first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I didn't know originally what to think of this, but actually when I did buy it, I watched it within like 3 or 4 days. I really enjoyed it. It does tie in very well with the movies, and hopefully they keep this show on the air. Well, I guess I should explain what it's about. Of course, it's about Agent Phil Coulson, which you know that he was killed in the Avengers. Well, they explain how he's still alive. They do explain in this, and there's just things going wrong with him. And anyway, he's granted level 7 access. He was level 6 in the movies, and he's allowed by Fury to assemble this team. Yeah. And also, it does feature some appearances by actors like, well, Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. He does make a couple appearances, and Bill Paxton's involved, and Oswald Patton as well, if you know who that is. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Right, from the WWE, we have the Attitude Era, Volume 2. This one, just like Volume 1, in fact, I got it down here somewhere. I know I do. Here it is. Yeah, here's Volume 1. And it's pretty much the same thing, except the first one had a little documentary to go with it. But, yeah, this features more matches, more moments from the famous Attitude Era. Next, from Fox, starring Kurt Russell, we have John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China. Yeah, stars Kurt Russell as this truck driver who has to save this girl, played by Kim Cattrall, and well, obviously in Little China. And well, things just get a little sci-fi weird. Next is an 80s movie starring Keanu Reeves, George Carlin. It's Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Yes, I finally had to pick this up. Of course, it stars Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter as Bill and Ted, and they go on this adventure through this telephone booth, and they are joined by George Carlin's character. And this telephone booth allows them to travel through time, and all this is just to help them pass a history test so they can graduate. That's the whole point of this movie. And of course, then they made a sequel, Bill and Ted's Bogus, I think it was Bogus Journey, and they are making a third one. Yeah. Next, from the Criterion Collection, yes, I do have a Criterion this time. We have John Travolta, Nancy Allen, in a Brian De Palma film, Blowout. In this movie, Travolta plays an audio technician. He does the sound effects for these B movies, usually like sci-fi stuff. Well, anyway, he's recording sounds for this movie he's working on. But what happens is he believes he's captured a political assassination. Of course, this being Criterion, it comes with these booklets that come with these essays and whatnot. Now, of course, this also has John Lithgow. I forgot to mention that. Yep. I just love getting Criterions. I just wish they weren't so doggone expensive. I think everyone that has a Criterion would agree with me on that. Okay, next from Sony, we have a double feature. These movies were both produced by American Zoetrope, which was the company George Lucas and Francis Ford Coppola had done. Well, but of course, George Lucas was no longer with them at this time, but it was mainly Francis Ford Coppola. We have Bram Stoker's Dracula and Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Yeah, not a big horror film kind of person, but yet these are based off the books. I remember reading Frankenstein. I did not read Dracula, but I did read Frankenstein. Of course, we'll go ahead and go with Dracula. It has Gary Oldman as Dracula, Winona Ryder, Anthony Hopkins, Keanu Reeves, and Frankenstein has. Before I go on to Frankenstein, Francis Ford Coppola did direct Dracula. But then you go to Frankenstein, directed by Kenneth Branagh, also starring Kenneth Branagh, along with Helena Bonham Carter, Tom Hulce, John Cleese, and Robert De Niro as the monster. Yeah, he's the Frankenstein monster. Yeah. Okay, next from Marvel we have Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Of course, I had to pick this up. Saw it in the theaters. And of course, that's why I also got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because there is quite a bit of tie-in to this one. Quite a bit. I mean, there's like a whole episode or two. But anyway, it stars Chris Evans reprising his role as Steve Rogers, as well as Scarlett Johansson and Samuel L. Jackson. They have to take on the hidden enemy that's been there the whole time, Hydra, and the Winter Soldier. And basically, they're trying to weed out who's Hydra and who's S.H.I.E.L.D. eventually. That's what they have to do. And of course, Robert Redford is in this movie as well, and he plays a key part. Oh, and if you didn't know, Bucky Barnes is the Winter Soldier. Okay, next from MGM and 20th Century Fox, we have a horror film directed by Brian De Palma, starring John Travolta, Sissy Spacek, and Nancy Allen. Some of the stars of Blowout. We have Carrie, based off the Stephen King novel. Yeah, everyone has probably heard this story. You know, about this teenage girl who's got these powers, these telekinetic powers, and she gets embarrassed at the prom, and she basically goes ballistic And that's an understatement. Yep. Carrie. Next from Universal Pictures, we have the Jon Favreau directed film, also starring Jon Favreau, along with a host of others. We have Chef. In this movie, Favreau plays a chef who basically gets fired from his job, working at a big restaurant owned by Dustin Hoffman's character, and to find his passion again for cooking, he decides to open a food truck. And to help him along, he brings his son, one of his best friends from his previous job, John Leguizamo, his ex-wife, played by Sofia Vergara, and also has Scarlett Johansson, Robert Downey Jr., Chef. Now, of course, who doesn't love Despicable Me? Yeah, I got Despicable Me too, with those minions and Steve Carell, Kristen Wiig, Russell Brand, and Miranda Cosgrove. Of course, this is a direct sequel to Despicable Me, where now Steve Carell's character is a good guy, and he helps save the world. Okay, next from Warner Brothers, we have the Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt film, Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah, which Tom Cruise plays like a soldier in the future who has to help stop this alien race from taking over our planet. But every time that he goes into battle, everything goes wrong and he dies, but then he goes back in time, and with the help of Emily Blunt's character, each time he goes into battle, he gets better and better and better, but still ends up dying. And basically, he lives, he dies, and repeats. That's what it all boils down to. Now, also from Warner Brothers, we have the Clint Eastwood 2-pack collection of Every Which Way But Loose and Any Which Way You Can. A couple comedies he did in the late 70s into the early 80s. Of course, it's a 2-disc set here. And the whole premise is Clint Eastwood's character just rides around with this orangutan. And with this orangutan, he goes around, and he's a bare-knuckle fighter. That's what it is. And all the little stuff that Clint Eastwood's known for doing. I mean, come on, it's Clint Eastwood. What can go wrong, right? What can go wrong with Dirty Harry himself? This next movie is a co-production between DreamWorks and Touchstone Pictures. We have the biopic on how WikiLeaks got started, starring Benedict Cumberbatch, The Fifth Estate. Yeah, as I said, this is about how WikiLeaks got started. Also has Stanley Tucci in it, and Anthony Mackie, who's in Captain America 2. The Fifth Estate. Next from HBO, we have the TV movie starring Julianne Moore as Sarah Palin. It also has Woody Harrelson and Ed Harris. Game Change. Basically, all this is about the presidential run that failed for John McCain many years ago. Well, I shouldn't say many years ago, but back in 2008 to be more exact. Yeah, that's what this is. It's based off a book about what happened behind the scenes. It's what it is. Next from Warner Brothers, we have the 2014 Godzilla. Yes, with what's his name? Aaron Taylor Johnson, as well as Ken Watanabe, Elizabeth Olsen, David Strathairn, and Bryan Cranston. This movie is a lot better than the last one that Sony did. This one makes it like an afterthought. Okay. For one, much better visual effects, and a little better story too. But anyway, the story follows around Aaron Taylor Johnson's character, when he was a kid, he lost his mother, almost lost his dad in a nuclear power incident. When find out it's not an incident, that it was some creature that did it, not Godzilla, not Godzilla. And Bryan Cranston's character is the dad to Aaron Taylor Johnson's character, and he's trying to prove something happened. And of course, he's right. He may be seem a little crazy or whatever, you know, obsessed. He was right. And of course, then Godzilla comes and defeats the monsters. But of course, he also levels half of San Francisco while in the process. Next, we have the 80s Spielberg-produced film, directed by Joe Dante. Gremlins, the 30th anniversary. This is the Diamond Lux edition from Warner Brothers. There's several other movies like Ben-Hur, Natural Born Killers, Forrest Gump. That's all I can think of right now. Oh, The Green Mile is another one. Anyway, you open it up. There's this picture of Gizmo and our main character, Billy. Open it up over here. Ah, here's Gizmo. And over here is Stripe, of course. And it comes on a 2-disc set. Discs just sit right in here. And of course you can see it's the barroom scene behind the discs here. That's the only thing really about this set. It's got more special features than the previous release. Gremlins. And of course I just dropped some cans onto the floor. Next from Universal, I know Scream Factory has an edition released, but of course this is the more common yet cheaper edition. We have Halloween 2 with Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasance. Yeah, this is the, I think, 30th anniversary edition. It's almost a bare bones Blu-ray, except it's got a couple features, an alternate ending, deleted scenes, and the feature-length documentary Terror in the Aisles. Of course, this movie is takes place after the original movie, but it takes place mainly in the hospital. And of course, you know, Michael's still trying to kill Jamie Lee Curtis's character, and Donald Pleasance is trying to stop Michael. You know, Halloween 2. Next, from Paramount, we have Dwayne Johnson in Hercules, the extended cut. This is Blu-ray DVD here. Yes, this does feature the theatrical cut. I got this at Target, and basically what I did is make this into a digibook, because it comes in this with this little booklet here, and it has artwork, cast bios. It's basically a digibook, is what it is, but it also came with some coupons. Some for movies I've already bought, but there's one I have not, so I plan to use it. Well, anyway, of course, this movie is, you know, as I said, starring Dwayne Johnson. He plays Hercules. And what else to really say about it? It's, you know, Hercules. Everyone knows the story of Hercules. I'll put the phone down here so I can put all this up here. Oh, I guess I don't have to. Never mind. Now here's a movie I've been wanting to get for the last couple of years, ever since I went to Blu-ray. And I finally found a somewhat decent price, you know, $15. I was not going to pay the $30 I saw last year for a different edition of this movie, but it's Frank Capra's It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah, the only downside is it includes the colorized version. I plan on skipping that, just so you know. I'll just watch the black and white. If they wanted it in color, they would have shot it in color. And color was around at the time. Yeah. Now, I don't know if I've shown this the last time, But anyway, based off the book of the same name, which later influenced the TV show, we have MASH with Donald Sutherland as Hawkeye Pierce. Now, you can't get this into a Blu-ray DVD combo pack unless you buy the replaceable cases and you have the DVD copy, which I already did. Well, anyway, the story of MASH is it follows the Mobile Army Surgical Hospital, MASH 4077, and the crazy hijinks they go through every day, when they're not in surgery. And of course, they are doctors, nurses, they have to take care of the wounded in Korea. Next, from Universal Pictures, this I thought was a very funny movie. It was what I expected it to be. It didn't really do well. But anyway, it's Seth MacFarlane's A Million Ways to Die in the West, with Liam Neeson and Charlize Theron and Seth MacFarlane. It had the usual jokes and all that stuff, so I went in there expecting it. Anyway, it stars Seth MacFarlane. He's a sheep herder, and let's just say he's a bit of a coward. He'll challenge someone to a gunfight, but then back out the last second. But then he gets challenged by Liam Neeson's character, as well as Neil Patrick Harris's character first. And with the help of Charlize Theron, he builds up the confidence to face them both. Of course, this also has Sarah Silverman and Giovanni Ribisi. This movie it's a fun movie. Now, this next movie from MGM, not so fun. Directed by Rob Reiner, based off a Stephen King novel, starring James Caan, Kathy Bates, Misery, which James Caan plays this author of a famous series of books. Anyway, he's finishing a book, which is going to be the last of a series of very popular books that he has written. Well, he's driving home from his cabin after finishing the book. That's what he does. He goes up to his cabin to finish the book. Anyway, in the snowstorm, he wrecks his car. He gets saved by Kathy Bates' character. She does take care of him. She knows who he is. But then she finds out that he's written this new book. And she likes the idea, okay, it's part of the new series of books. These series of books, I want to see this kid read this book here. So she got a first look at it, and she hates it because of what he does to the main character in the book. Anyway, she tortures him and forces him to write another book. Yeah, just for her. Anyway, and also this sheriff, played by Richard Farnsworth, is looking for him, and basically it's the fight to survive for James Caan's character. Yeah, Misery. Alright, now I'm on my third and final stack here. I had two stacks of 13 movies each. Well, this one, that first one was 13, second one was 12, this one's another 12. Anyway, from Universal Pictures, we have the comedy starring Zac Efron, Seth Rogen, Neighbors, which Seth Rogen played. Him and his wife are new parents. Then a fraternity moves in, led by Zac Efron's character. And basically, the fraternity causes a bunch of problems for Seth Rogen's character. And basically, it's just like back and forth. They're pulling pranks on each other. And anyway, Neighbors. Next, from Fox, we have a movie starring Robin Williams, 1 Hour Photo, one of his more serious movies where he plays this a guy that develops film for stores. Anyway, he basically goes a little crazy, a little obsessive with this one family that he develops the photos for. And he gets jealous, because the dad of the family. He's got a life. He's got a wife, kids, and he likes to think that they're his. They even go as far as to call him an uncle in the movie. Yeah. 1 hour photo. Next, from Universal Pictures, we have the sequel to The Purge Anarchy. Yeah, of course, if you know the story of The Purge, it's basically the same thing here, just with a different set of characters, where one day, out of the entire year, all crime is legal. Murder and rape and everything. Anyway, these people get stranded in the middle of the town, or the city, during the yearly purge, and they fight to survive. Next, from Warner Brothers, we have the 80s classic Risky Business. Yes, which features that scene with Tom Cruise dancing to Old Time Rock and Roll by Bob Seger. And in this movie, basically, he's a kid that Tom Cruise plays as a kid. He's running into financial trouble, has to make money. It starts like some kind of escort service and ends up falling in love with one of his employees. Risky Business. From Lionsgate and World Wrestling Entertainment, we have the sequel to See No Evil 2, starring Glenn Jacobs, also known as Kane. And in this movie, it follows the first one, where Jacob Goodnight, played by Kane, is brought to a morgue. They think he's dead. Well, no, he comes back to life and causes terror. Sorry, I got interrupted there. My grandmother sent me a text message, and I'm shooting this on my phone. And of course, they're having this party for one of the workers there at the morgue while Jacob wakes up. From Disney, we have the Diamond Edition of Sleeping Beauty. Of course, Maleficent, whatever it's called, that just came out, so I think that's why they released the Diamond Edition of this one. Of course, it's the fairy tale Sleeping Beauty. Everyone should know the story. This next movie, released by the Weinstein Company through Anchor Bay, we have this. It's a post-apocalyptic movie with Chris Evans, Tilda Swinton, Jamie Bell, Octavia Spencer, John Hurt, and Ed Harris. Snowpiercer. Basically, global warming has started this new ice age, and the only way that these people got to survive was getting on this train called the Snowpiercer. And it's a train that just runs around the world non-stop, running through the ice and the snow. Well, on this train, there's been a class system developed. The higher the class, the more up front to the train you are. Well, anyway, the people in the back of the train form a rebellion, and they take over the train. One car at a time. Snowpiercer. Next, from WWE, we have SummerSlam 2014. Main evented by John Cena defending the WWE World Championship against Brock Lesnar. And as you can see, he's wearing the belts, which means he wins. And of course, Stephanie McMahon steps back into the ring to face Brie Bella. And a whole bunch. Sorry about that. My camera cut off. But anyway, featuring also a bunch of other matches, such as Dean Ambrose against Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns against Randy Orton. Now, this movie I had to get because the fourth movie came out, or not the fourth movie, this is the fourth movie, but another movie came out based on the same franchise. I may have already shown this before, but anyway, it's TMNT, the animated movie by Warner Brothers and the Weinstein Company, with Chris Evans, Patrick Stewart, Sarah Michelle Gellar. And of course, it's the usual story, you know, it's the Turtles versus the Shredder, and the disc is a pizza. Looks like a pizza. Next, from Paramount, we have Transformers Age of Extinction, the Best Buy exclusive Steelbook edition. Thankfully, they got rid of the lovey-dovey story, in my opinion. Well, it's still kind of there, but it's with different characters. Of course, this one has Mark Wahlberg in it, who helps Optimus get back to some of the Autobots, and of course, he's labeled a traitor by the CIA. And then they find out that the Autobots and the Decepticons are being hunted down by the CIA and given to this other company, being melted down and turned into other robots. And of course, that don't sit well with Optimus, and he opts to kill a human being behind it. Okay, next from the History Channel, released by Lionsgate, we have the miniseries The World Wars, which shows the backstory of how Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, Joseph Stalin, and Adolf Hitler battled in World War I and then World War II in this 3-part miniseries, The World Wars. And then finally from Fox we have X-Men Days of Future Past. Yes, where they do bring most of the casts of First Class and the original cast, with the exception of Rebecca Romijn. That's the only exception. But anyway, it starts off in the future where the mutants have all joined together to fight the Sentinels. But then they trace it all back to the 70s, early 70s, at the end of the Vietnam War, where Trask Industries builds their first Sentinels. And of course, Mystique had a part in it, unwillingly, because the Sentinels can adapt to the mutant powers. Anyway, they send Wolverine back in time to change the past as well as change the future. Is he successful? Well, you gotta find out. Well, anyway, that does it for me. Until next time.